Hello, we're live at Cynispection. I think my internet's really not good today, so we'll see how this looks online. Um, Welcome to another exciting episode. What's up, John? How's it going?
It's going all right. Excited to talk about an 80s classic that I'd never seen before until recently. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, look, I was the movie, of course, is Willow, starring Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer, and a whole bunch of people that I did not recognize from other movies.
Yeah.
Um, as a kid, I was completely obsessed with this movie. I was like because back then, like there was no Lord of the Rings, there was no, you know what I mean? Like this was like the high fantasy, like
Yeah.
this is
This
all we
didn't really
had.
exist. I mean, in some ways it did. There were some things in the 80s, but yeah, not like this. This was kind of Princess Bridey, but a little bit more serious, I would say, is like
Well,
the
pretty
realm that I
dark
would put it
too,
in.
and pretty
Yeah.
dark, right? Like I was, that's why I wrote in the title of the video. Like it's dark fantasy. Like there's some really violent things happen in this movie, and it's kind of like played off for laughs, like haha, like the monster's head exploded, or what? Like but it's like it's pretty violent.
Yeah. It's a interesting movie and I don't know, it has a very distinct 80s feel and we'll talk about that, but it also has a very distinct Ron Howard feel, which I was excited and concerned when I saw that Ron Howard directed it. So,
Well, Ron Howard is the most like hit or miss director of them
yeah,
all. Like the guy can do like um you know uh uh
A Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful Mind, exactly, or he can do Rush. Did you see Rush?
Yeah, I saw Rush. He shot
That's a
that all on a Canon D35 or something.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do those, but then he goes and does like Solo, and he does like, for example, not that the source material is the best thing in the world, but I feel like the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons were better books than what the movies ended up being. Like
Way better books.
the movies were just not very good.
No.
And a lot of it felt sort of lazy, like it just buried like by committee. He didn't really try.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I'm getting the shooting locations, and that's it." So yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic director. Apollo 13 is another good one. Cocoon is another good one. Like he has many good ones, but then he
Backdraft.
has
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, he has, like, it's funny because everybody knows who Ron Howard is, like, and not for bad reasons. Usually it's a good reason, but he doesn't have that. Given how many movies he's made, which it's a shit ton, he 47 to his directing credits. He doesn't have that many really good movies, right? Like,
no, yeah, he's pretty hit or miss. Did you see that one that was like a Moby Dick kind of thing? What was the name? The Heart of the Sea or something about a whale?
oh, I've heard of it, but no, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. Yeah, so he goes around, he does great things, he does bad things. By the way, are you seeing like my lighting just go in and out?
Yeah.
Oh god. Well, that's what the episode's gonna be. Sorry, I got new internet. New house, new background, everything. So okay, well let's go like in general, you like this movie, right?
Yeah, it is a retelling of, like, it starts as a, and I told you this is like a retelling of Moses, right? Like there's this prophecy and like the baby is going to bring the end of day or the end of days for this kingdom. So a handmaid like steals the baby, puts it in a basket in the river, pushes it, that person dies, and then this baby is picked up by the next part of the story, which becomes like Fellowship of the Ring almost, but with the baby.
Well, the baby becomes a MacGuffin, yeah, and everybody
Yeah.
wants the baby. And Warwick Davis, who, okay, I mean, I feel like the 12-year-olds that might watch this might be like, who? It's like Warwick Davis is like awesome. Like he's like the king of like he was in Star Wars, he was in Harry Potter, he was like he's been like all over the place. This movie, like I was watching, I was like, I'm sure George Lucas was like filming Return of the Jedi, and he was like, "Hey, you, don't you want me to like put you in front of your own movie?" Like because
Yeah.
Warwick Davis was a little was I think it was he was a kid when he was making Return of the Jedi. He was like, "Hey, why don't I make a movie with you?" And then it just Return of the Jedi came
then he
out
turns into
in
Willow.
83, right? And then 89, 88, this movie came out. They must be best pals. He's also Warwick Davis. He's also in episode 1. He has a really short cameo. Did you have you catch?
I mean, I think that if you're younger, you would know him from Harry Potter, right? Like,
well, yeah, but the last Harry Potter movie came out in 2010, so
I guess it's been that long.
it's been that long. Some people
Yeah.
were born the year Harry Potter came out, and they might watch this video. So,
He was in Solo as well. That's interesting.
Was he?
And
He
Rebels.
Solo. Okay, so he's a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Just put him everywhere. Yeah. So in this movie, do you want to do John explains the plot with my bad internet?
Yeah. We can do the John explains plot.
Okay.
So where I left off was this person named Willow gets this baby, and it's like they changed the names of people, and but it's kind of like Willow's people are kind of like hobbits. They're close to hobbits, I would say.
And they live in their own little town, and
their own shire-ish
area.
Yeah.
Also very Luke Skywalker-y. They keep themselves, and they get thrown into this bigger deal. Yeah.
And the baby that was prophesied to kill the queen, inadvertently, like, I guess, is the downfall of the queen, which is kind of like Harry Potter-esque in its like prophecy type thing, right? Where it's the baby isn't the thing that kills the bad witch or whatever she is, queen. It's the baby turns the queen's daughter on her, which then causes her downfall. But overall, he meets Val Kilmer's character, who is locked up in a cage, who is when they're taking the baby back to where it's from. I guess he's an outlaw. I don't know what you would describe him as. He's a swordsman for sale who's a drunk. Yeah. So he's like, a drunk swordsman for sale. And he basically takes and convinces Willow to let him free, and he will take the baby and protect the baby. And Willow doesn't want to, but eventually agrees.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, finally. Okay. Yes, eventually. So that I found to be interesting, because I don't know why they made that choice, but I get the reluctant hero is always a trope in these kinds of things. Like, I don't like, why would I do this? I'm just a farm boy, or I'm just whatever. Why would I do this? And then, because if you don't do it, no one else will. That's Frodo, that's Luke, that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
Neo, anybody. But here, the first thing he does is say, like, no, baby's not my problem. I won't do it. Blah, blah, blah. Goodbye. But he has like 3 kids or 2 kids. I think 2 kids.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt odd that he'd be like, nah, F this baby. That was kind of like an odd choice, because also the kids don't really have much of a... I mean, there's a scene where they're kind of like chased by some
the kids find
dogs.
the baby, and he's like, no, leave the baby alone. So,
which seems odd for a father to say, if he was like a young guy without a family, he's like, I don't care about this baby.
I mean, he's kind of like the village idiot, though, right? Not in a way, but kind of. Like, there's other people in the village.
There's people that bully him. Yeah, they pick on him, but he's like smarter than everybody else, because he's the only one that figures out the riddle. So you left that part out. There's a wizard that comes to the village every X number of days.
Yeah.
And he recruits people to join his wizard cult with a pretty awesome wand, right? Like, it's kind of like curly wand.
Yeah.
And then Willow solves the riddle, but he doesn't say it. So he's smarter than everybody else. He's got the magic in him, but he's like too insecure of himself. So spoilers, I guess, but his ultimate arc is to realize that he can do it, right? He's
Yeah,
he
that he's a
believes in
magic
himself.
person.
He's a magic person. I think as much as I love Warwick Davis in this movie or any movie, and he's great in this, Val Kilmer, I didn't remember how great he was in this. He's really good.
He is. He's really, really good. But he was in another movie where he had like a similar. I mean, his demeanor is always kind of out there and outlandish. But what is that?
Well, here's the thing. No, because I feel like again the 12-year-olds like think Val Kilmer, and the first thing they think is Batman. Like it's just like, oh, he's the guy who played Batman that one time. Honestly, Batman might be my least favorite performance by Val Kilmer. Like, he's awesome as Iceman. He's awesome here. He's awesome. Did you ever see The Doors? The movie The Doors?
Yeah, of course. He's brilliant.
Fantastic in The Doors.
I mean,
he's great in.
Have you seen the accidental tattoos? They're accidentally.
Is that a movie?
They accidentally get Val Kilmer's face tattooed on them instead of the lead singer of The Doors because they just watched the movie and like
no, that's a good one.
That's a legitimate thing. Like, yeah,
they look pretty similar though. Like they're making it look pretty similar to Jim Morrison. Yeah.
I mean, he was in True Romance, which if you haven't seen that, that's an amazing movie as well.
I haven't seen it. We should watch that. What's that movie? Like, he's in what's his name from Predator and Iron Man 3? Sean, the director. Oh God, you know who I'm talking about? The guy, Lethal Weapon. And, oh God, what's his name? Well, whatever. The director of those movies, Shane Black. He's in a Shane Black movie. This was like later in his career. That was pretty funny. I don't remember the name, but it was like I think
hang on. Is this the guy that did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Like, is Val Kilmer in that?
Yeah, with Robert Downey Jr.
He plays a character named Gay. That's what I'll remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a good performance by him. Again, it's just like if all you think about when you think Val Kilmer is Batman, like you're missing out on this like whole new side of this guy who's like did really good stuff.
But he was excellent in this. He definitely was the standout actor of the movie.
Yeah, but let's talk about. I mean, we the action sequences are really well done. I think the special effects are really, really good and they hold up. I mean, if you're expecting CGI crap, you won't get it. It's 80s special effects, but they look good. A lot of models, a lot of matte paintings that I think hold up. Even though I watched it on Disney Plus, I assume you did too.
Yeah.
The transfer was pretty great.
They did a really good job of the transfer, honestly.
They didn't mess up the special effects, which happens a lot when you transfer to 4K. But let's talk about like my major nitpick, because I did have nitpicks, but my major one is the female character whose name I'm blanking on. Scorsha. I liked her arc of like, you know, they set up like she kind of has a weird relationship with the mom and she's like not sure about these things. But she turns like good, like in 1 second. And then after that, she has like 2 more lines in the entire movie. One is, Mom, leave him alone. You know,
well, after like, I guess she's like seduced by Val Kilmer's character.
Who's under a love potion.
Yeah. He's the one under a love potion by the like fairies that accidentally put it on him. And then he like puts the moves on her and then she's like in love with him. And then like, I guess they end up together. I mean, it's, you know, one of those things, but
it's messy. It's messy. It could have been done. I like the arc. I like when I saw the setup, like, okay, this lady's going to like, you know, kind of like turn. Yeah. I was like, okay, I like that idea, especially when they had like an awesome henchman, you know, the guy with a skull mask. Who's killed brutally, by the way. Like Val Kilmer puts the sword on the ground, like facing up, and just like goes right through it.
Yeah, that
that was brutal.
That last battle of the movie with whatever that is, a dragon thing.
Wait, no, which one? The last battle doesn't have the dragon. The next,
the last like big siege battle, like the last battle, is with the queen.
With the queen, right?
Yeah. Like the last siege where everybody's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was way more brutal than I expected. That whole scene,
Well,
like,
it just in the 80s, we were okay with it, you know. We just like I watched it probably I was like 6 years old or whatever, you know, and I watched this and it was just like, oh, it's kind of violent, but you didn't even think about it. And
yeah,
you know, now they would never make a movie like this. Like they would never like um
never.
you know, some of the storytelling choices, like, you know,
I would
um
never make a movie like this because it ended in one movie and there was no need for a second or a third or a fourth or, you know, an expanded world, even though we can talk about that, but they are making an
let's
expansion to this.
let's talk about that because that's the elephant in the room. Like I think your reaction and mine were different,
Yeah.
but we ultimately got to the same point. So to me, since I was a kid, I remember like I was like, why didn't they ever make a sequel to this? Because this movie, this could have been a Star Wars, like this could have been a Lord of the Rings kind of thing, like, but it wasn't as successful in the box office. It got its money back, made a profit, but not as big as they thought it would.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you know, it was a hard sell, you know, in back in that age. Again, fantasy, like right now everybody's trying to make the next Lord of the Rings and the next Game of Thrones, and you have, you know, new Lord of the Rings series, new Game of Thrones series, and this thing called the Wheel of Time, and you have all these what's the one with the talking animals that represents people's souls?
Oh,
The Golden Compass? No,
right.
his Dark Materials.
Yeah, his Dark Materials.
His Dark Materials, and everybody's like Foundation in some way or the other was kind of like also fantasy sci-fi kind of mix.
Yeah.
And then they have all these like different attempts at doing this, but back in the 80s this was not a common thing. Like fantasy was not a thing in the 80s.
No, I mean action movies and dramas and that were, I mean, action and drama in the 80s were the big sells, right? Like,
right.
And then dumb comedies, as I would think of it.
Dumb comedies, exactly. Yeah. So this was a difficult sell, I think. Still, it's so cool and so like it's pretty heartwarming. Like honestly, Warwick Davis's performance is so good that he's just like somebody you cheer for immediately. You're like, this guy is good, you know.
This is a movie that's kind of timeless, right? Yeah. So it's a pretty timeless movie. So yeah.
No, I need better internet next time. Yeah, sorry. Did you hear what I said about cheering for Warwick Davis, right?
Yeah, of course we cheered for Warwick Davis.
But then, okay, so then when I was a kid, I was like, they should have made the sequel. I would have loved to see a sequel. And then I started hearing they were going to make a sequel probably 20 years ago. And I was like, okay, that'd be great. This is the right time. I think Lucas was just done with the prequel. So he was like, well, maybe, you know, I can revisit this. And then Disney Plus came out, and there's this Disney Plus obsession with just content. Let's make as many of these things as we can, right? Yes. Now we're getting Willow. It's not a sequel, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
I felt excited about it again because of Warwick Davis. I was like, I want to see Warwick Davis doing this again or doing any role, honestly. I like that guy very much. But how did you feel when you heard about it? When I told you last night, I guess.
Yeah. I was just like, why? To be honest, like, if they wanted to do this, they should have done it 30 years ago, 25 years ago, however long ago. You know, not now. Nobody's seen this movie that's of a current age that's also in the Disney Plus category, I don't think, of people that are watching it.
Well, they're going for people like me, you know, who watched it as kids.
But even still, like, I mean, how many of you are there out there? And then also, like, what is this even going to be about? Like, what are they going to continue the story into? Like, it was a good open. This is what I always complain about. There are no more just, it's a good movie. Like,
yes,
start to finish, done, bookend, no more.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I think I told you right when I watched this was like, it was one story. I don't need any more. It was like self-contained in its, you know, hour and 45-minute runtime or whatever it is. And it was good, but I don't need it to be expanded because they're not going to do it justice. Maybe they will, but probably not. And I just go back to like why now? Why,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
I think two things. One, I completely agree with you with what you said. One that I really liked about this one is that they don't really get overburdened with lore, with like, oh, uh, like this world is the world where there's, I mean, there's throughout the movie, there's like really tiny people. I don't remember the names, but they're like, I don't know, the
Yeah,
size
they're
of
like
a toy,
fairies. Yeah.
fairies, kind of. They have like squeaky voices. They don't spend a lot of time explaining like, ooh, back in 2000 years ago, some people developed the ability to become tiny. Like, and I feel like that works for the movie because you're just like, okay, I get it. It's a fantasy world. You might have this person that starts off being a dog. What kind of animal was she? And then she becomes a
Oh,
bird. What is she at
no,
first?
she's
It's
like I looked it up. It's a weird animal. It's like a ferret type animal.
right, like a ferret.
It is an actual, like, it's a very distinct ferretish animal.
Right. So she starts like that, and she becomes a bird, and then at one point she becomes a turtle, and then a tiger, and and they don't explain like, oh, she is this, and she can do this with her. Like, they don't need to say that.
No,
They
because they
just
just
go
show
with
a
it.
wand. Like that's all they needed to do. Yeah, I don't think that they need to keep on like expanding on a universe when it's all been out there forever.
Can you hear me
Right?
now?
Like, we don't need to know any more about these hobbit-like
Yes.
people. Hobbit-like
Can you
people just exist. Fairies exist. Like, we've all read enough stories to understand that.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Sorry, I keep cutting in and out. Yeah, exactly. We don't need more, and I feel like this show is gonna spend a long time um setting up this like, oh, back in the day, there was this ancient like they're gonna just over explain the lore, kind of like what they've done with Star Wars and what they've done with all these things.
Yep.
So that was my first issue with it. The second issue with it was that it's written by Jonathan Kasdan. So if you don't know who Jonathan Kasdan is, he is the son of Lawrence Kasdan, who is one of George Lucas's favorite co-writers. He co-wrote Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then he co-wrote Star Wars: The Force Awakens with J.J. Abrams. So he wrote some of the best Star Wars movies and one of the best movies ever made, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark. But his son is not Lawrence. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't want to like spend 2 hours talking about Star Wars because I actively avoid it every time I can, any chance I get. But like, Solo was not the best movie ever made. I'm sure the guy's a great guy. I'm sure he's more talented than what he did for that movie. But then I watched the trailer, and there's the line, like the most cliche line in history, where there's this like younger lady who's probably being pushed by Disney to be the next big thing, and she like tells
Did you notice that it's also being developed by, like, it's a couple people are developing this. So the other thing is it's the people, Wendy Merkel.
can you
She's a
hear me
writer
now?
producer who did Arrow.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello. Yeah. Oh God, we need to end this soon because my internet's a garbage. No, did you hear what I said about like the line in the trailer, or was
yeah.
I just right? So there's the line in the trailer with the you need your magic, we need it now. And I was just like, that sounds like the line in any trailer ever made. And I was just like they're just making it for making it. Nobody has a story to tell. They're just like, we need content, bringing Willow.
The story to tell is a story that doesn't make any sense, because the premise of this new show is that the princess is all grown up and she needs to find her twin brother. So like, that's
but the princess would be like 40 now.
It says a princess assembles a party to join her quest to rescue her twin brother. So maybe it's a different princess.
Maybe it's the daughter of the baby, because the baby would be like 40 now.
Yeah.
Well, not 40, it would be like 20.
Oh, it's the daughter of Sorsha.
Oh. Why would the daughter of Shorsha be the princess?
Hmm.
Oh, right, because Shorsha was the princess.
Yeah.
And then she took over the throne with Mark Mardigan. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be fun.
Yeah.
I guess they're gonna like do a reference to Val Kilmer, like an
Yeah,
oil
because he
painting
couldn't
or
be in it.
something. Yeah.
There's a new
So anyway,
person who they're adding as that character, a thief who's offered freedom from prison if he assists the group. So basically, it sounds like they rewrote the first movie and turned it into a series, and then they're going to sell it for like $1 billion. Whatever. I mean, we're just used to this now. We're just used to Disney like rehashing it over and over again. Gabe is having internet issues this evening.
It's been really bad. I think it's the mic, actually. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Well, let's close it out because
let's close it out because his voice just cut out again, and we'll see if he can hear me. But once again, go watch Willow if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie. You should like and subscribe. I'm Jaw Firth. He's Gabe at Film Opinionitis, and we'll see you next week.